Doug Giles of ClashDaily.com is back. He's also an author and writer for townhall.com. He's here to talk about preparing your daughters for the dangerous world today. And believe me, it's a dangerous world out there today. I wanted to talk to Doug about an article in Clash Daily, Dear Parents, Hard Lessons for Your Daughter, from University of Texas, where a young girl was murdered. Doug, welcome back to the show, sir. Thanks for coming on.
Jesse, thanks for the Otis Redding coming into the segment here, buddy.
I know.
Woo!
I tell you, man, bring back so many good memories.
Oh, man, you just took me back to, 1981, driving my Z28, girlfriend at my side, slow crawling the avenue, looking for nothing but trouble.
That's right. That's right.
Thank God for redemption, brother.
I'm telling you, I had a 280Z at that time. It was a red 280Z.
Uh-oh. So you got saved after that, right?
That's right.
That's funny.
I want to talk to you about training your daughters or preparing your daughters to protect themselves. There was an 18-year-old girl who was sexually assaulted, strangled, and found dead in a creek on a campus. And the murder suspect was a 17-year-old black homeless teenager. Tell the folks first about that story. When did that happen, and what campus did it happen on?
Yeah, last week, Jesse, here in Austin, Texas, where I live, Haruka Weiser was found. Her roommate said she was missing and reported it on Monday of last week. And then Tuesday, they found Haruka in a creek, nude, slaughtered, killed, dead. 18-year-old girl that was from Portland, Oregon. She was a ballerina. And like you said, Meechaiel Khalil Criner, a 17-year-old homeless, 6-foot-tall punk, is the one who's been charged with first-degree murder. They got him on security video. And you know, the thing that I think is ironic, and I do want to talk about self-defense for women, but the left starts trotting out their trolls, Jesse, and they said, well, he had a rough childhood, and well, his mother didn't love him, and oh, he had low blood sugar and he should have had a Butterfinger, and that's the reason why he killed Haruka. Listen, I know people that have had rough lives, horrible lives, Jesse, and you know what they don't do? They don't rape 18-year-old ballerinas and then murder them and dump their bodies in a creek.
Yeah. Also, had this been the other way around, had it been a white teenager, 17-year-old teenager, killing a black girl in this manner, it would be all over the news. It would be racist, and they would call it a violent crime. They would be talking about the rape culture, but because it was black on white, they give him a pass. Yeah.
No, and Jesse, I'm surprised. I know you're conservative, and I know you're a truth dealer, but, my opinion, I've been told on my column that went viral about Haruka's murder on ClashDaily.com, I've been told that I can't even talk about it because I don't know the deep, dark hole that Meechaiel has come from, and I'm no person to judge him for what he did.
Yeah.
I think that's bull crap. I think it's political correctness. I think college pimp, that kind of stuff. And the more our children inhale it, the more and more this country is going to be screwed, glued, and tattooed. But the good news is, Jesse, you and I will be dead and gone before the full effects of liberalism's insanity hits this nation.
What I don't understand, and maybe I do, but for the sake of the conversation, white people know that this is happening. Black on white rape is so common nowadays, and white on black is almost non-existent. Why are majority of white Americans so quiet about this?
They don't want to be whipped and tarred and feathered and deemed a racist for pointing out the obvious. It's the same thing with Islam. Here Islam, an implacable enemy. There's absolutely nothing we can do to get them to chill out. We can have Britney cover up her cleavage. I can stop putting pomade in my hair, and women can stop wearing bikinis, and restaurants can stop serving bacon. And you know what? They're still going to want to kill us and rule us and dominate us in all of Western civilization. But we can't point that out, like whites can't point out the tremendous black on white crime that occurs here in the United States, lest we be deemed a racist or an Islamophobe. And it's this kind of cowing by political correctness that has, by default, handed over our culture to the liberal idiots that are running us into a brick wall.
And so they care more about the name calling rather than self-defense or standing up and telling the truth.
Yeah, and that's why I try to circumvent that, Jesse, from the political aspect and just get down into the serious weeds from a parental aspect, and like I did in this column, and tell parents, listen, I don't care if the attacker is black, yellow, white, a mixture of all. Your daughter's got to learn how to defend herself, and if need be, kill that perpetrator if he intends to do her bodily harm.
Let me ask this, and then I want to ask how are you training your daughter? Are there any other important details about this story where this young girl was killed by this guy?
Well, Austin's sitting real tight on it, and I've been following it ever since it occurred last week. They said that she was assaulted. There's some of the people, obviously she was assaulted. She was murdered. They're not saying that the incredible details. The students are talking about how it was just a complete brutalization of Haruka before she was actually killed. Rape. I don't know what the fine details are, but Austin, they're sitting tight on this because, again, they don't want the narrative to play out. Austin's a very liberal city. They don't want their narrative to be scrubbed clean by the truth.
We have a picture of this young lady and her family, and she just looked like an innocent young girl that the father and mother sent off to college. All she cares about is education and probably, having fun as a teenager. Some black bum comes along and take her life, and because he's black, there is no outcry in this country, which is only encouraging more of this kind of stuff because they know they can get away with it. It's not going to be a big deal. I want to know, you have daughters and you train them. How have you trained them and how are you training them?
Well, my daughters now are 26 and 24, so they're adults. But when they were young, Jesse, we insisted that they get into Gracie Jiu Jitsu. And all fights go to the ground, and that's where Jiu Jitsu reigns supreme. And they've trained for 15 years in Jiu Jitsu. They're the first two females in the Gracie Valenti tradition to ever receive a black belt. And what I did as a knucklehead father when I was in my early 30s is that it finally dawned on me that I'm not God. I can't be there to protect her at all times, or them at all times. So they got to know how to rock in a hard place. And, oh, my God, Jesse, I would not want to mess with them because they can hurt somebody. And here's what a lot of people have misconceptions. They're like, how could a 110 or 120 pound girl fend off some 240 pound moron who tries to attack her? That's where jiu-jitsu reigns supreme because it teaches self-defense to small people and dealing with big morons.
Doug, I want to know, are your daughters able to carry open or concealed carry?
Yeah, in Texas, they're afforded that privilege. That's in the thing called the Bill of Rights, that thing that we've forgotten about.
Yeah,
they don't do it because I kind of like, and so do they, the element of surprise. I want people to think that, oh, hey, he's not carrying, or they're not carrying, and then you get, some knuckle-dragging moron that comes to accost them, and the next thing you know, they're double-tapping the center mass of that jackass, and he's winging his way down to Dante's Easy Bake.
That's right. You tell your daughters to stay off the phone and quit texting in public so that they could be alert. That is excellent advice.
Yeah, I mean, Jesse, me and you could go out this afternoon.
Yes.
I could fly over to California from Texas. We could go probably kidnap, kill, I don't know, 20 or 30 people because they're not paying attention because they've got the earbuds in their ear listening to Rihanna or whoever,
Yeah.
Amy Grant, I don't know, or they're texting and their heads down constantly. They're not paying attention. And, you know, as a hunter, and what I've learned watching National Geographic, Jesse, is that's how predators take out prey. They look for the stupid animal that's not paying attention, that's separated from the herd, that's looking the other direction, that's not utilizing its senses to stay alive, and they take that person out. So parents or young people that are listening, you got to pay attention when you're around these murderous morons that we unfortunately have to schlep with in this 21st century.
I've seen young people walk in front of my car on the phone, and they don't see it. They just like walk right, and about to get ran over. They have no idea that it's happening.
Yeah, and you know what, Jesse? They look at you like you're crazy.
Yes, they sure do. That's insane.
That's a huge point that I point out in my column. Wherever you go, you've got to keep your head on a swivel.
Yeah.
And you can't be texting, and you can't be listening to your favorite artist if you're in an environment and people can say, well, isn't that a little bit paranoid? You know, a lot of paranoia or a little paranoia probably would have kept Haruka alive. So I'm cool with a little bit of fear when I'm around, again, like I said, these unbridled, unleashed hood rats and stuff.
I agree. I have to say, your daughters are fortunate to have a father who would take the time out to train them how to protect themselves in an evil society that we have right now. So they're very fortunate because a lot of fathers and mothers are not taking the time to teach or train their daughters to be prepared.
Well, I appreciate that, Jesse. A lot of them, you know, like, let's have our little daughter learn piano. That's great. Let's learn her how to do tap dance. Okay, cool with me. But you know what? They also need to know how to throw down. They need to know how to fight, unfortunately, in this violent day and age. You know, 75% of the violent crimes in Florida, Jesse, are against women. And so ipso facto, I would think as a dad, because I raised my daughters in Miami, then they need to know how to kick some butt.
Yeah.
And that's why we put them in the classes, and that's why 15 years later, they're the first two Valenti Gracie black belts in the world.
Wow, congratulations. That's major. You wrote a book a few years ago, Righteous and Rowdy Girls, to help fathers with their daughters. Do you hear from any of the people who have read that book and taken action?
Oh man, I wish I had them prepared for you, Jesse. Testimony after testimony after testimony. People getting their kids into their girls into martial arts, getting their girls into weapons training. I bought my daughters a throwing knife kit when they were 9 and 11 years old, and they know how to throw knives.
Yeah.
They know how to use weapons, other weapons like firearms, pistols, rifles, shotguns. And I feel completely cool as a 53-year-old granddad now that my daughters, should anything ever go down, are not gonna wilt like a little flower under the heat. They're gonna kick butt and take names, my friend.
That's right. I love that. One last question. You also train your daughter spiritually too, right?
Oh yeah, and our Christianity doesn't entail. I'll turn one cheek, but that's it. And our Christianity doesn't entail running from evil. And
yes, sir.
And I believe that, I believe the life that God gave my daughters and other innocent people is sacred. And in my world, Jesse, and in my Christianity, the good girl should live, and the bad guy, he should die.
Yep, I absolutely agree. The website is clashdaily.com.
ClashDaily.com, that's my main stomping grounds right there.
Okay, Doug, thank you for what you're doing with your family. That is pretty cool.
Yeah, thank you, Jesse. Cheers,
All right.
buddy.